Thank you, everybody. It's amazing. It has been, 2.5 days, poof, gone. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce the woman who has an attention to detail, an ability to pick delicious food, as a master of logistics. She is a friend and a dear colleague. Mary O'Carroll from Google. She's also a member of the CLOC leadership team.
Oh my gosh, you guys, it is such a pleasure to be here and to close out this event with a few words. Where do I even begin? We just held the largest corporate legal operation event in history. Easy, right? And so many amazing moments, so many things that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And if I had to pick one moment to share with you, one just really pivotal, really dynamic, changing moment. Okay, well, let's be honest, it would have to be the Britney Spears concert. But if I got to pick two moments that were really amazing and pivotal, I'd have to share the eve of this event. The night before it all started, I was standing there looking at the beautiful Bellagio fountains, looking out at the Las Vegas Strip, and there on the Bellagio marquee, one of the most iconic, well-known billboards in the entire world, it said, "Welcome, CLOC." I was just like, pinch me, right? It's amazing how far this group has come, really. And last year, I stood here in front of some of you, well, not here in San Francisco, and I said that we are on the verge of something really exciting. But today, I'm here to say we are not on the verge of anything anymore. We have arrived. We have crossed over to the next stage, and we are now living the most exciting, thrilling moment of our professional careers. We are remaking an entire industry. The end of last year, someone came up to me and said that the energy they felt at the event felt like that of a religious movement. And I feel like that's so true. I kind of felt that yesterday when I was sitting right there watching the Big Thinkers panel and just kept saying, "Amen, hallelujah." It was great. And I feel so connected with everyone that I meet at this conference. It is not your average conference. It is not like going to some industry event or some insurance event where you meet a bunch of people, you shake their hands, and you say, "Where are you from? How's the weather? How's that sports team doing?" It is very different, and I feel like you have to be here to feel it. But people have come up to me and said, "I found my people. I found my tribe. I feel like this conference was made for me." It's tremendous. And I think that the connections that we feel are so special and so unique and so deep because of the long journey that it's taken us all to get here, right? And for so long, we've been alone, solo warriors, going down each of our paths on a very lonely mission, trying to change this industry one company at a time, one challenge at a time. But no more. Now I can look out into this crowd and see so many people and so many faces that I can go up to and go, "Oh my God, you get it? You speak the same language. We're on the same page." It's amazing. And it's a really challenging role that we're in, right? If you think about what just transpired, we had over 70 sessions in distinct disciplines over 2.5 days. And we could have made many, many more sessions. There was a lot on the cutting room floor. And we are expected to be masters of all of those disciplines. It's kind of why it's so hard to hire for these roles, right? Because there's 12 core competencies, and it'd be impossible for any of us to master all of them. And what I love about this group is that everyone is willing to admit that we're not afraid to admit what we don't know, right? I went to a lot of sessions, and people would raise their hands and say, well, how do you know it's going to be successful? Or how are you going to sell that? How are you going to take it to the next level? And you've got people on stage going, I don't know. We're just going to try a bunch of things. We're going to see if it works out. We'll come back and share more with you. And that vulnerability, that ability to be honest with each other, that breaks down our walls, and that connects us immediately. It's really nice. And finally, this job is really unique. It's hard. We are met with resistance every step of the way. But we are not on our own anymore. We have each other, we have the energy and the ideas of this community, and that is going to make all the difference in propelling us forward. Hopefully many of you feel like I do today. Leaving this conference, I can go back, I can do anything, right? But the reality is we're going to get on planes, we're going to go back to our desks, and we're going to be facing those obstacles that we've been facing for many years over and over. We've talked about it for the last couple days. This is a unique industry. It brings up barriers and obstacles that are unique and different from any other. It's been successful, it's been profitable, it hasn't had to change for a long time. But when I think about this industry, I think the reason why it's so difficult to change is because it's an industry that is about people. And people are the ultimate barrier. We often talk about legal operations as being at the crux of people, process, and technology, right? It's really easy to get caught up in the challenges of technology or of process. But at the end of the day, people are our walls. People are what's hard for us. It's sort of impossible these days to talk about innovation or to hear about innovation without having someone reference a company like Uber or Lyft, the ride-sharing companies, right? They're often described as disruptive technologies. But their technology isn't that complicated. And the process improvement that they did, while brilliant, is probably not something that no one here has thought about a little bit. What is really interesting and exciting about what Uber and Lyft did was this change in mindset for people. Think about it. They had to convince the entire world that it was going to be safe to get into the car of a perfect stranger, have them lock the door, drive you away, and assume you're not going to get kidnapped, robbed, or murdered. I think that's really difficult to do, right? But what they found was that mindset, even though it was so entrenched, could be changed. And when you break down those walls, you realize that they're just paper thin. And there isn't anyone following behind you trying to put them back up. On my team, we have this saying. My team's out there somewhere. Just because it's obvious doesn't make it easy, right? Once you convince those people that it is safe, convenient, and lovely to get into an Uber or Lyft ride, you are golden. And sooner than you know, that becomes normal. A lot of what we do in legal ops is kind of similar. We are just putting common sense into motion. We are using innovation, but innovation doesn't always have to be about technology or artificial intelligence. Innovation can often be just changing the lens on something, looking at it at a slightly different way, and bringing others to come around to your point of view. And for us, that means working very patiently to get them to come around. And it is hard. It's really hard, right? How many times have you been that person in that room where you're trying to convince someone of something that's like a no-brainer, right? You've got all your logical arguments, you've got your ROI, it's going to make things faster, cheaper, better. There's no argument against it. And what are you met with? Couldn't work for us, right? Just a bunch of resistance everywhere you go. And I don't know about you, but I have that moment where I look around and I go, oh my God, is anyone else hearing this? Like, am I taking crazy pills here, right? I know you can relate, but maybe we are the ones who are crazy. And maybe it's good to be a little bit crazy, because it's going to take a little bit of crazy to break down those walls and prove to others that they're really thin. We are the dreamers. We are the rebels. We are the disruptors. We are the pioneers. We are the radicals. We are the dreamers. I recently had a great conversation. I had the opportunity to meet Kim Rivera. She's the GC at HP. And if you don't know, they just came out with a really innovative outside counsel diversity program. And I was so inspired by my conversation with her. And it wasn't really about what they came up with, but it was the process in which they got there. And what she told me was she sat down with her team before they even knew what they were going to do. And she said to them, I want you to think big. I want you to think bold. I want you to push the boundaries on what you think can be done here. and I want you to make everyone a little bit uncomfortable, just uncomfortable enough that they have to change. Okay, I loved that, and I want to challenge each of you to go back to your jobs and keep that mindset. We have to do things big. We have to go all in. This is Vegas, after all, right? As an organization, as a community, we need to think big and stretch beyond our comfort zone. It's our time. We need to stop asking for change. We need to start demanding it. Okay, change is hard. Not everyone likes change. I love change. I could move houses every year if it were up to me. In my personality, I act quickly, I strive in chaos, I make decisions fast, I figure things out later, and because of that, people come up to me and say, "Oh, it's so great, you must not fear failure." No, guess what? Terrified of failure, just like everyone else. But there is something that I hate more than the fear of failure. And that is the feeling of watching passively when I know that something can be done so much better. I am simply incapable of sitting back and tolerating that. And so people ask me all the time, "Why are you so passionate about this stuff? Why do you spend so much time helping everyone in the industry do stuff that you've already mastered? What's in it for you?" And you know, the point for me is, that's another company, or that's another person who's coming around to the new way of thinking. That's another company, and the faster we get more and more companies and people to come around to thinking the new way, the faster the revolution is going to take place. And I look around this room, and I see a lot of people who are also not willing to sit back and tolerate this. I see people from HP who are willing to push the boundaries on outside counsel diversity. I see Connie Brenton from NetApp, who's willing to take any technology that you throw her way and try it and test it and share her findings with the rest of us. I see Steve Harmon from Cisco and Justin Ergler from GSK, who have been pushing the boundaries of alternative fees for years and telling us to get on board. I see a room full of people who are willing to rock the boat, to break some glass, and to get into the right kind of trouble. So here's my call of action to you guys. To the legal departments, challenge yourselves, think big, do something bold, and when you do something well, share it with the rest of us, elevate the entire industry. And when someone else tells you what they're doing, resist that urge to go, "That might not work for us." Try it, take a chance, go all in. To the law firms. First, to the law firms that are in this room, thank you. You are like a breath of fresh air, every single one of you that I spoke to this week. Thank you. Get out there and preach. You get it. Find a partner, find a client to work with, and do something crazy. Take a risk together. Don't be afraid to be the first mover. And work with us. Don't work in your silos when you're talking about project management or data analytics or diversity or whatever it is that you're trying to solve to be innovative and to change. Don't do it in a silo. Bring your clients to the table. And as Lucy Bastley said, bring your business professionals and our business professionals to that conversation. To the ASP, LSOs, LPOs, OMG, can we think of what you guys are called and just land on it? Keep reminding us that it's possible to have great value and great quality. Keep reminding us that we have alternatives. And keep reminding some of us that there are also career alternatives. To the technology providers, you are the enablers. We need you. You're going to help us make this world better, faster, and cheaper. So make it easy for us to implement your software. Make it easy for us to get people to adopt it without extra clicks and having a clean UI. Make it easy for us to explain the ROI so we can get it in-house. And more than anything, push us all to standardize, standardize, standardize everything. To the law schools, we are counting on you to train the next generation of our leaders. Adapt your curriculums and make sure this next generation is always looking forward and not just looking backwards. Guys, this is a special group, a very special community, and we've already overcome the biggest challenge, which is recognizing and understanding that sharing and elevating each other is way more important than protecting. And that commitment to helping each other, to elevating the entire industry, is the single biggest force that is going to push all of us forward. We have already come so far. We recognize that. But the road ahead of us is going to be hard and much longer. My friends, this is the power of an idea whose time has come. This is the power of a community that is connected by a common vision and ideas. Together, we are recreating the legal industry. Thank you for your time, for your energy, and for your ideas. Thank you for being a part of CLOC.